This stone casting video is about obsidian. I have a particular fondness for obsidian. I think perhaps I should phrase it that I have a particular fascination with obsidian. I have never tired of it. It always takes me to a new place. There's always something different in my relationship with it. My primary relationship with it is, as it is known, as the mirror of the soul. No stone will take you deeper and farther than obsidian. It will be your ally and your greatest challenger. One of my mentors liked to call obsidian the devil's advocate. And she reminded me that the devil's advocate serves a powerful purpose in our life, challenging us with what we already know but just don't want to admit. Obsidian is actually a natural glass formed when lava and water meet. It may appear perfectly black, and in some specimens we cannot determine other colors within it, but almost always, held to the light, we will see shadings of red and brown in it because of the minerals it has come in contact with, and we will sometimes see swirls of white in it. When the swirls of white become distinct bits of white, it's called snowflake obsidian. We also see rainbow shadings, very subtle in obsidian. That comes from the gases that formed when the lava and the water meet. Something as beautiful as that, captured forever in the stone. Obsidian is all about drawing us in, taking us in, entering in that black pool, showing us that things are not always what we perceive them to be. Its black color, which is not always solid black, reminds us of that. The deeper we look into obsidian, the more we see. And the more we see within ourselves, the mirror of our soul. The journey to truth requires going in and gaining deeper awareness within that stillness. We are drawn in, willing or not, and we meet ourselves in the depths of obsidian. It's not about staying there, though. There are two very powerful energies I work with when it comes to obsidian. Going deep within, letting it literally suck me down, take me down into my innermost depths. But there's a reason for that, because there's a swirling, an eddy, a movement that then brings you back up out of those depths with wisdom you need in the wider world. It's not about going in and staying in. It's very much about, as within, so without. The journey in has a purpose, which is to retrieve something sacred and bring it back out into the light. The power of obsidian is withdrawing, centering, transforming, and returning. In its depths, we discover personal truth, and then we mirror that in our lives upon our return. Now, as you know, we have several categories we discuss with each stone that I bring to you on stone casting. Let's talk about those for obsidian. What are some of its general attributes? Let me run down a rather generic list that I've collected over the years from various correspondences, and then I'll summarize what it all comes down to for me. There's a lot of general attributes for obsidian. It absorbs and dissolves anger, criticism, and fear. As you can imagine, when you take something into your depths, you see it for what it truly is, And you realize some things just simply do not have to impact you. It cuts to the heart of the matter. You don't hide anything in the darkness. Actually, the darkness reveals. It draws imbalances to the surface. That power I told you of, how it brings you in like a maelstrom, taking you down, 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 and then brings you back up, back up, and almost spits you out, full of insight. It draws imbalances to the surface. Protection against psychic attacks. Yeah, it does that. Because when you know who you are, when you've gone into your innermost depth, nothing can touch you. Protects the gentle from abuse. I find this to be a powerful aspect of this stone. Those who cannot speak for themselves, those such as children, or those who are emotionally challenged, those who are struggling, not aware of their own identity enough to come from that place of power. It always helps those people. It reveals half-truths, sees buried issues, sharpens and focuses internal and external vision. Isn't it something that we talk about something in the dark, and something so beautifully black in color, aligned with vision? It's a shield against negativity. Again, absorbed into the power of obsidian. We know what matters, and we know what does not matter when we come back to its surface. It's also about survival instincts. The ability, when faced with overwhelming challenge, to withdraw to the place that we can appreciate what our innermost self tells us by gut instinct to do. Let me summarize those general attributes for you. See clearly in the dark and the power of returning from it. Absorbing extremes in energy and retaining their power at a more subtle level. It's not about giving up. It's about deciding what's appropriate to hold on to. Reveal half-truths and incomplete knowledge and understanding. The next category we always talk about is the personal aspects of the stone. Obsidian's personal aspects: actualization, balance, detachment, discernment, purity, and sensitivity. This is how that feels for me. These are my words regarding that. The power of detachment and discernment. Both those words are important to me. The absolute purity of your personal truth. No one can question that. The dissolution of anger. When you take it down and deep within the place of obsidian, it tends to become less important because of that aligned power of obsidian to see only that which matters. It's about addressing important challenges before they become overwhelming. Taking something which is feeling overwhelming taking it down to its simplest level. A level at which you can always deal with it. Sharpening of both internal and external focus. It begins with a journey inward, and then you send it outwards. Discovering what must be done no matter how difficult. When you suck everything down into the maelstrom of obsidian, all those things which are overwhelming you in any given situation, it's almost like a centrifuge in there, spinning out all those things, and the thing that stays with you is what must be done. Some of the common attributes of obsidian that have to do with outward relationships and community. You won't find many of them. Here's why I think that is true. Obsidian is all about you. This is a stone that is completely and totally about inward focus. Even when it's something we bring to the surface, it is something addressed at that intimate, deep, inward place. I see its only attribute in relationship to community is to keep our personal integrity in the face of any incoming. When community comes at us in any way, it is the place that we assimilate that information. You don't have to meet expectations of that incoming. We decide what it means for us in the depths of Obsidian. A category that we always address is that of spiritual working, magical working, the working of circle, the working of the witch. Here's some of the general correspondences for Obsidian when it comes to those attributes. Embrace of fantasy and escape. Grounding, scrying, and transformation. My thoughts on that is the power of Obsidian to remind us we have the ability to work at the non-physical level, that the non-physical reality is as real as the tangible reality. That place is the place of personal truth, our highest, best will. No coincidence, Obsidian is a creature of fire. And to me, our place of highest will is the place of fire, the place of the honed blade. We journey with Obsidian into that place that we meet our own shadows. We turn them into power. It's the place we withdraw into at any moment of doubt or insecurity, to reach back into the place we have absolute knowing. It is the comfort of knowing we are constantly reborn. Strangely, when you think of the colors of Imbolc, which is occurring shortly after this video is going live, light colors, pastels, white, Obsidian is a very powerful stone of Imbolc because it is the place of individuation, that purest, deepest place where it is only us, and what of us rises from that out and into the world is one of, to me, the most powerful aspect of Imbolc. We also always visit health correspondences for the stones that I go over. And like every stone, there's a long list, although in Obsidian's case, it's not such a long list of the things that it impacts, as seen traditionally. And for Obsidian, they would be bacterial and viral infections, let's just say infections, the intestines, the stomach, and all muscle tissue. I'm not going to deny any of that, but I've experienced Obsidian a little bit differently in the work that I've done with it. Well, it's known for its effect on infections, the stomach, intestines, and muscles. I have found that when you think of the power of Obsidian, the going within to that personal place of knowing, how it impacts our health is in that place we know what we have to do. We are not going to overindulge. We're not going to do something that will hurt our body. We are not going to enter into something that will be emotionally damaging. We'll put down the cigarette. We'll eat healthy foods. We will be involved in nurturing rather than destructive relationships. My sense of what Obsidian is at the level of health is we know better. We know what we have to do to be healthy, no matter how challenging that sometimes feels. If you were doing a single stone pull on Obsidian. There's a couple of things that are the catchphrases that I think of and that I keep in mind. Foremost for me is that phrase, mirror of the soul. It captures the depth, the deepness, the importance of going within. But the power of, think of this shiny surface of a polished obsidian. The power is also what of that is reflected outwards. Mind you, you are deciding what is mirrored outwards. It's dealing with the reality of life, cutting to the truth of it. It has the ability to absorb and dissolve and then reconstruct into something valuable. And one of the fascinating dichotomies of Obsidian is you go into the dark to see more clearly. I wish you all mirth and reverence. Merry part.